Boruto. If you've heard of it, you've probably also heard how bad it is. When people talk about Boruto, they usually don't give it much praise, and rightfully so. It has done many, many, many things wrong, some of which I will be listing out today in this video. But why is it that it's so much worse than Naruto? I mean, if you look at the filler, it's about the same percentage. No one ever liked it, but Naruto was still able to get over an 8 on Mal, and Boruto is really lacking. It's not doing too well with his score. So what is it? Why is it so bad? And, you could look at the surface of it. You could talk about the character. You could talk about just how there's not much conflict. But I think it goes a bit deeper than that. And I think it really just has to go back to the roots of it. And it's one of the reasons why I will say that Boruto, from the very first episode, was pretty much doomed. However, it doesn't mean that they've done everything incorrectly. In fact, actually, there are a few things that Boruto did quite well. And in the first episode, in fact, actually has one of my favorite examples of a hook. But that is a story for another time. Today, we're going to be looking at Boruto and seeing why it's so bad and how, in any way, we can fix it. As a story creator, writer, and avid anime watcher, I have viewed and analyzed hundreds of different stories across all sorts of genres. There is nothing quite like getting fully captivated into a world, or, as my tradition as a writer, watching my readers get fully immersed into my world and fall in love with my characters that I've created from scratch. But, unfortunately, not every story is like that. A lot of authors, they get lazy, they have off days, and eventually they lose sight of what's really important. So, I decided to make this series to analyze and fix a lot of the stories that I so dearly wish were done correctly. So today, let's fix Boruto. So, what is Boruto essentially? Really, it's just Naruto's son. And if you're watching this video, I'm going to assume that you're familiar with Naruto and Boruto, and the fact that Boruto is an anime right now, a manga, and was also a movie back in 2015. Actually, it's also the most successful Naruto movie, getting about almost $40 million in the box office, which is close to double what Naruto the Last made, which is still a decent chunk ahead of everything else. And honestly, I kind of get why. I mean, I've only ever watched The Last and Boruto. But, that aside, though, Boruto is just Naruto's son. So why is he special? Why should I care about him, other than the fact that he is Naruto's son? And we're starting to start to see some issues now about why Boruto did so badly. First off, when dealing with the successor of a main character from a previous series, you have to be very, very careful, because you cannot, and I mean this, you cannot make the reason for watching that new series be just because, it's the main character's son, or it's the main character's daughter. You can't have that, because it gives it no meat, no juice. It's so fragile, the series then. It can fall apart so quickly because you've got no reason to watch it otherwise. So, what are the major issues with Boruto? Now, there are hundreds and thousands of people who have already talked about this because it's very low-hanging fruit. There are some very big issues with Boruto. But how do you fix them? And that's what we're going to be focused on right now. So the 7 main points that I will be fixing in Boruto are as follows. First off, we have a lack of transition. Boruto just didn't have one, or talked about why it's necessary earlier. Doesn't have one, it needs one. Second up, Boruto's personality. It's shit. We can talk about that later on. I said that I would, but yes, that's definitely going up there. Number 3, the power scale. Don't even need to say more. Already talked about it. We'll just cover it a little bit more coming up. Number 4, his classmates are so garbage. Why are these characters so bad? I will be fixing those. Do not worry. I got you. Number 5, the filler. You know this one was coming. I mean, 55 or 45% filler, that is just disgusting. We're fixing that. Number 6, the goal. What is Boruto's goal? And it's kind of related to number 7, why do I care? They're slightly different, but I decided to switch them up. So, those are my 7 main points. Now, let's fix Boruto. So, what do I mean when I say transition? Because that's a very basic word. And I never really explained it earlier. But a transition in this type of storytelling is a clear point in the story where you go from the main focus as being Naruto to Boruto, or whatever other characters there were. I know Dragon Ball Z tried it with Goku and moving to Gohan, but people didn't like it, so they switched it right back. But when I also say transition, I don't mean just switching the focus of the character. There's a lot of other things that go into play, and it can't just be like a snap done, because that makes it feel so, I don't know, artificial, I guess you could say. It makes it feel anticlimactic. If you have just like snap done. Like you did have the ending point in Naruto Shippuden. You know, you had Shippuden, the fight, done. There you go. Finished. And it would make sense to jump right back into Boruto. The issue that I have is that there's nothing that connects the two solidly. Now, you could make the argument that, just the fact that Naruto and the other characters in the same world, blah, 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 that's enough of a bridge, right? And I would argue that you need something a bit more creative than that. Because, yes, it technically works, but I think that we can do better, personally. And when I say a full-on shift, I mean taking kind of what I guess you could say you could expect from Boruto and bringing it right into its own thing. Making it its own story right away and completely detaching it from the others. So my vision for this involves the Momoshiki fight. Actually, the same place that I talked about with the Rasengan handing off, father and son. I think this is a great place for a transition, but done in a slightly different way. Now, am I cool with Boruto being the one who, yeeted my man Momoshiki? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Boruto being the one to take out like a practical god being. But at the same time, though, Naruto and Sasuke really whacked him up pretty hard beforehand. And also the fight was so well animated. Damn, that was juicy. But I think this is a great place, though, to really make Boruto his own thing. So what would Boruto be if it were his own thing? And for this, I'll take you back to episode 1. Remember earlier, when I talked about the hook in the beginning? I was talking about this very, very short clip that I'll have playing behind me quickly. This clip does so much for the story. It shows you what Boruto will become. It gives you a deep sense of, oh shit, this is about to get dark as hell. And I like that a lot. If you don't know, I'm a very dark writer. I hope you know what I mean by that. We're just going to assume that you do. But anyways, I think that this fight, the Momoshiki fight, is a great place to capitalize on what this first scene did. Because when you had this first scene, it's to let you know shit's about to get dark, it's about to get real, and it's about to hit you hard. The issue is that they never capitalized on it. Right afterwards, they went to, the normal, happy, kind of lighthearted theme, which is actually great because that creates contrast. And with contrast, you can create impact, which brings me to the transition. So if you move forward, the Momoshiki fight, an absolute ass ton. So maybe start Boruto not when he starts ninja school, but start right as he's training for the Chunin exams. To put it right before there. Maybe about a month beforehand. So you get a little bit of time to meet him, meet his teammates, build up on them a little bit, properly introduce them, and then move into the Chunin exams, where, shit hits the fan. And then in that point, you're going to have a huge tone shift during that fight when Boruto really realizes the responsibility that he has when he decided to become a ninja. Or started training to become a ninja. He's going to realize the responsibility there. He's going to realize just how damn powerful Naruto and Sasuke are. And most of all, it's going to get dark, the theme. It's going to go down from happy to aw shit. And that there is a transition. How we can do it? There are many ways, and I'm not going to go through all the different ways you could right now. Later on, when we put it all together, I might go a bit more into it, but I'm really dragging this point out, so I'm going to jump forward now into step number 2, Boruto's personality. And this goes right back into the transition point as well, actually. So Boruto is an ass. I hate him. His character kind of sucks. He's an annoying brat, and I really don't want to see him win, honestly. Because he's just annoying and, ungrateful. It's ugh. You learn some respect, my dude. Your daddy, bitch slapped a god. That's pretty badass. He went to the moon. The moon. You know how many people have gone to the moon? Not many. Elon Musk, hit me up. I got you. Just kidding. I would be terrified of doing that. But anyways, Boruto's personality is shit in the beginning, but I think that's a good thing because it means there's room for character growth, where I think the transition point can really come into play. And you're going to hear a lot about the transition point because I really am focusing a lot of what my changes around that point and making it a really just hard hitter. Yes. So, I think it's actually quite fine that Boruto starts off as an annoying brat, but as long as he changes and doesn't change 200 episodes in, because that's just too late. I've had to deal with his bullshit for too long now. So we're going to say that he has this nice, happy personality, but the second that fight, Momoshiki comes in, he's going to get serious, he's going to grow up, and it's going to grow up fast. And I think I actually want his personality to almost mirror a bit of Sasuke's, kind of be a blend of Sasuke's and Naruto's. And I'll go a bit into why that's another cool little symbolic thing later on, and why I think that'd be dope. But if you blend the two together, I think you can get a pretty cool personality. Not, I have a quest to kill my brother. Or, I have a certain man I have to kill. Yeah, no. But also not like Naruto talking jutsu everyone, We'll talk a bit about this more when we put it all together again, though. On to step number 3. Here's the power scale. The Rasengan is a cool-ass move, but I have seen it so many times now. I actually kind of want to see him fight with his own chakra nature a bit. Now, if I remember correctly, I believe his chakra nature is lightning. Because, the chakra being infused into the Rasengan, I believe the lightning turns into the vanishing, the wind obviously makes it the Rasen Shuriken. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that, though, but I would love to see a bit more of the actual jutsu moves. With Sasuke, we've got to see so many of his, jutsus and stuff like that. Naruto, we just saw Shadow Clone and Rasengans, and then eventually Rasen Shuriken. I'd love to see some really cool powers. Make him really blend together, like his chakra nature, or his just his jutsus with taijutsu. And I think he'd have a really cool fighting style, while also not making it too broken as well, and not making it unrealistic. I think if you give him the same amount of, finesse as Sasuke did at that same point in time, at that same age, I think that'd be fine. People should be fine with that. Especially if you show them something new, that gap we were talking about earlier of they went up here, but he can only do down here, that gap will actually kind of not matter as much because it's something new and people like new things. So the section where I talked about this earlier was actually cut out, but essentially people want to see fights all the way up here because that's what they're used to. However, because Boruto is a child, he can only do fights down at the bottom. So you have to somehow find a way to compromise without breaking the power scale. And now Rasengan, I think it's fine. He can use the Rasengan, but he's got to use it in a different way than Naruto did, and possibly a bit more creatively. And also, it cannot be vanishing. That's a big point right there. No vanishing Rasengan. That's a no-no, sir. No-no. It's a big no-no. It's so big that I'll even put the word no behind me, because I don't want to see that. Don't want to see it. But that's a bit of a smaller point, though. Something that kind of irk me, but at the same time, though, it isn't the biggest thing. It doesn't really matter too much. But what does matter is his ass classmates, because his classmates are shit, and they still are to this day. So, how do you fix his classmates? This actually isn't a hard thing to do at all. You just make them unique. You don't make them just shit. I'm sorry to say it, but they are. Shikadai is the same thing as Shikamaru. What were you thinking? I'm sorry, man, but it's just boring and uncreative. You've got, and I mean, yeah, you did kind of stretch yourself a little bit with the purple-haired girl with that fox creature. Cool. You've got that one cat sound girl. It's just no. Look, there are two characters that I like that you added. One is Mitsuki, because he's got mystery and he's cool as all hell. He is kind of overpowered at his age, but that's justified. There's that key word, justified, because he is kind of like an artificial human made from Orochimaru, I think. I'm not even going to look into it. I don't even want to know what Orochimaru is doing in his cave right now. He's a weird dude. But, yeah, no, he's got mystery, and his power is justified. So, I think that's pretty cool. It's unique, it's new, and I like it. Iwabe. Iwabe is cool, because have we ever seen a ninja get held back before? No, but of course it happens. It's cool. I like that. It's fresh, it's a fresh idea. And so I 100% agree with Iwabe being the badass that he is. But when you bring Metal Lee into this, he's a disgrace to my man Rock Lee. Sarada. Her name is literally salad. I mean, what more do I have to say? Not to mention, she's an Uchiha who needs glasses. I'm sorry, glasses are cool and all. I usually wear glasses when I'm not recording. But this is a clan known for their eye powers. This is a clan known for having the dopest eyes possible, and yet she needs glasses to read the board over there. No. Awful. I'm not even going to go in anymore to this. Just make them better. You can do that yourself. I'm not even going to fix this for you now. And do I even need to start on the fillers? This is such an easy thing, I'm not even going to spend much time on it. This is the percentage of your fillers right here. Get rid of that. Just, no, less than 10% if you can do this. I know you can. I mean, you sold how many copies of your manga? You are sort of, you have to be able to do this. Please, just, this one really aggravates me because it's just bad. It ruins the story. It's just, everything about fillers irks me because it's awful. Just don't release episodes. Just don't release them. Just wait until you can make something good. Number 6 is his goal. Now this one, I'm actually going to take a bit of a different route on. And I will be spending more time on this one, because this one is kind of important. Actually, the last two are quite important, so this one and the next one. But when I'm talking about the goal, what are we talking about? Simple. Naruto, his goal was to become Hokage. Luffy, I'm guessing wants to become Pirate King. Simple. In my own story, shameless plug, my main character, Michael Caine, wants to prove his innocence to his country and make people not think that he's a terrorist. Link in description, of course. But what is Boruto's goal? And does he actually need one? Does he need a goal? No. If he plays it correctly, Boruto does not need a goal. And yes, I know it kind of sounds contradictory. I'm saying that an issue is, with the story, that there is no goal. But right now I'm telling you that he does not need a goal. And that is simply because if you do it correctly, he does not need one. But you need to make it part of the storyline. You need to make there be a reason why he is out of a goal and make it really play on it a lot. And actually, I like this a lot, actually. I like this idea a lot. A lot. So, will Boruto have a goal? No, don't give him a goal right away, because do you know what your goals are? Maybe you know a few. I want to sell lots of copies of my book. I want to develop a video game. I want to do a lot of different things. I'm making videos right now. I want to do that. I want to get subscribers. Those are some goals of mine. But did I think I'd be doing this 3 years ago? Hell no, I didn't. People's goals always change. And even if you're a junior or a senior in high school, do you know what you're going to do after college? Probably not. You might have a few ideas, but you don't know. You probably don't. I mean, is that fine? Of course it is. It's very fine, in fact. And in fact, actually, this is why I think Boruto does not need a goal. If you play it correctly, you can make it be a very, very touching human interaction. Just for the sake of this, we're going to say that Sasuke becomes Naruto's mentor, or Boruto's Jiraiya. My bad, I might have slipped up a bit there. He's going to become Boruto's Jiraiya. We're just going to say that. I think it's going to happen in the real story, but we're just going to pretend that that's right now correct. And I kind of already see it a bit right now. You've got, they're maybe out in the woods, They just did some training. They're taking a little break to grab some water, maybe eat a little bit of food. And Sasuke's kind of asking asking Boruto, why do you want to become a ninja? And Boruto is struggling to give a response. He kind of says he always thought it's what he had to do. It's what his father did, and he kind of feels that it's what he has to do as well. And you can make a really good arc about this, actually. About Boruto really realizing why he wants to become a ninja. And kind of he had this internal struggle right there. And that is damn cool. Because internal struggles make realistic characters and realistic stories. Because every day we go through so many internal struggles. Whether it be just getting out of bed, a mental illness, or trying to figure out what you're going to do tomorrow. How you're going to pay the bill. These are all struggles that we have. In a lot of shows, you'll see the struggle just be, you've got the big bad guy versus the good guy. But the viewers of Naruto, and now of Boruto, we're grown up, and we want to see something a little bit more mature. And I think this would actually be really cool. Having this whole arc where Boruto tries to find out why he wants to become a ninja. And not just have it be, my dad was a ninja. Have it be like, I want to be able to protect people. Or, I have finally realized that I would have this freedom the freedom to decide justice for myself. I can talk about my own book for a second, actually. One of my characters, he is trying to, because you say get a new power at the time. I'll try to give no spoilers, but essentially he's denied this power because the person he's trying to get it from is saying, why do you want it? Do you want it to pass this test? Do you want it just to do this or do that? Do you want it to look cool? No, then. No, I'm not going to give you this power. You have to have a reason for it. And it isn't until the end that he realizes that he really wants the power because he wants to protect someone who he loves. And it's when he realizes that he is given this power. And I think that Boruto can do something kind of similar, where he has this internal struggle of trying to find out why he wants to become a ninja, and eventually gets this reason, maybe like protection, or I want to justice, or, all sorts of different reasons. But I think that should be Boruto's, as you say, goal, or lack of a goal, but played correctly. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for number 7, and also, yes, I am wearing a new shirt. I am recording this a few days later than my original recording because I ran out of space on my camera, and so I had to take it all off, and I was busy for a few days with work and stuff like that. But anyways, point number 7. Now, this was a little bit similar to number 6. Number 6 was goals, or Boruto's goal. Number 7 is why do I care? And now, to put it in terms of Naruto, obviously one of the reasons why we did care about Naruto was his goal, which is why these two have a little bit of crossover. But I think they're separate enough to make them two separate points. So with Naruto, we were obviously kind of hooked in because we wanted to see him achieve his goal. But I think the reason why we really cared as well was because we wanted to watch a kid who maybe we could relate to a little bit. He was kind of isolated. He felt the world was against him, basically. People hated him because of something that was out of his control. And, sometimes we probably feel the same way. There's stuff out of our control that we wish we had control over and we feel like affect our lives so dearly. And we wanted to watch this kid, Naruto, overcome all those obstacles, overcome all these challenges, and achieve his dream. Isn't that what we all want? We all want to overcome our own internal struggles and everything that we have to achieve our dreams. So that's why these two are kind of separated. But what about Boruto? Why do I care about Boruto? And I will say, obviously, you can't have it be because he's Naruto's son. I already covered that. That's just weak. I think that we can give him a really symbolic, stance in this. And it's going to kind of play off of what we saw in that first little clip in episode 1. The one that was a hook that I really loved, actually. And was the only reason I stayed for as long as I did watching the series. Because, trust me, that filler did start to... Yeah, that was tough. But with that first little clip, we see, he's got the headband, it's crossed out. So it gives us a little bit of implication that he's going to become a rogue ninja. Which, first off, we already have new perspective. In Naruto and Sasuke left, Naruto stayed, we followed Naruto. Now, we maybe with his classmates like Sarada, the salad girl, with eyes, like super ninja eyes, but still needs glasses, because why not? She's gonna stay, because she wants to become Hokage. She's the Uchiha, wants to become Hokage, and Boruto might be the one to leave now, and I think that'd be kind of cool. Is it gonna happen? I have no idea. I don't know. But I think that would be a really cool plot line. And also, you could really play with it with him symbolizing freedom. He is this being who wants to... Basically, he stands for the freedom to choose your own justice. Maybe that he sees injustice in his village, and he decides that instead of trying to follow this path, he wants to be on the outside. Maybe I worded that badly. Instead of being inside the system, he wants to get outside of it and be his own, as to say, warrior of justice. I hate to use that terminology because it's been just so overused, but anyways, yes, I feel that would be pretty interesting, having him symbolize freedom, like this freedom of justice and just unconformity. That would be pretty cool. And you can also play a little bit with maybe, you had these two lines originally with Naruto, like the sun, light, and Sasuke, like the moon, dark. Maybe you could play a little bit with now Boruto is the union of light and dark, kind of this balance between the two. He's not all good and he's not all bad. And I think that'd be pretty cool, actually. I think that would be really cool. And maybe you could play with a part of his darkness being because of what happened to his dad and watching that happen. Obviously, in this version, nothing's happened to Naruto in the anime right now. They're just... I don't even know what they're doing with him right now. But yeah, I think that would be really cool. But obviously he also needs an antagonist. Someone to have an opposing theory. You know, in Naruto we had union from love and union from hate. Sasuke wanted to unify everyone through their shared hatred for him. And Naruto wanted to unify everyone through like friendship and love and kindness. And so those were two conflicting philosophies, which makes for a cool story when you have these two conflicting philosophies. So if Boruto is this freedom of choice and unconformity, I don't even know if that's a real word. I don't care though. I'm very tired. I should add that. On this side, then, as the antagonist, obviously, it should be the complete opposite of that. Utter pure control and conformity. Everyone is under this centralized power and is told what to do. I think those would obviously clash, and that would be pretty interesting. I think to see the two kind of, you have this one guy trying to really, maybe he's going in like the internal systems of the world and I don't know, maybe moving up inside of the Hidden Leaf political system and installing more conformity, more unification, and more overall control of everything. Starting to control very small parts of your life and it going more and more upwards while you watch Boruto try and rebel against it and try and push against this control. I think that'd be pretty interesting. Of course, you can share your opinions in the comments down below. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear what you think about all these points that are brought up. But now we have something even more important now. We have to put it all together. Because right now I've fixed all these singular points, but they're kind of all just floating in the air. There's a few smaller bridges I've talked about, but they're all kind of just floating in the air. We want to bring them all together now and turn them into one single story. So let's start off right from the beginning with episode number 1. Starting off in a very similar way to the anime, with a small little clip that gave us a hint of what the future might hold in this world. That hook then, of course, giving a little bit of a teaser to a much darker tone and much more serious. But right afterwards, after it's done, and maybe the little intro plays, go into a much more lighter tone. Almost a bit more of what the original Naruto had in a lot of its episodes. And except instead of it starting right when he enters the academy like it did in the anime, we're going to start maybe about a month before the Chunin exams. This is because simply you can now see his a bit more power now. You don't have to go through all the fluffy stuff in the beginning. He can already be a bit strong. And perhaps he even knows Rasengan already. Maybe his dad taught him that. But anyways, he's training. You have a few missions. You kind of get to learn the characters, learn the main 3, and his instructor, of course, being I think his name was Konohamaru. I might be wrong on that. But keeping the same team leader as in the anime. Kind of so you get to show off a little bit of where he came from. Starting to tease a few of the older characters, but also making sure to not show too much of them. Giving them, let's just call it 10/10 levels of screen time. Who got less than that damn pig. Anyways, so moving on from these few little episodes. I'm not talking like 20, I'm talking like maybe 5. So not a lot, but you get to see a little bit of the characters and what they're possible of. And now the Chunin exams are coming up. You start to see a few of the other characters, maybe a revised version of Shikidai. So whoever the shadow style child is, but slightly revised. Here to see maybe see them, maybe see a few of the other children of our beloved characters from the old series, from Naruto. And as we move on closer to the Chunin exams, Boruto is starting to get a bit more serious about wanting to impress his dad. He feels that his dad hasn't always been around because he's so absorbed by his work, so he moves over. He decides that at the Chunin exams, if he can really show off and win this thing, like just dominate in the Chunin exams, that maybe he can get his dad's attention. And so he starts training really hard, and at the same time, after maybe another little bit, with Sarada, Sasuke comes back, and Naruto obviously knows that Sasuke is one strong-ass dude, and a very good friend of Naruto. And so he starts asking to train with him, and Sasuke is very wary at first. He's not really digging it. So he tells him, hey, look, if you can do this task that I tell you, maybe I'll accept you as a student temporarily. And so Boruto tries, and he keeps trying and trying and trying, and Sasuke knows that he won't be able to achieve it. What he's looking for is not for him to achieve it, but to see if he doesn't quit, to see if he had that same tenacity that Naruto had. So maybe we'll play it in a similar sense of how Lady Tsunade was testing Naruto with the Rasengan. And she watched Naruto just Rasengan after Rasengan after Rasengan. If you don't remember that clip, I don't know if I can find it at all, but it happened. But anyways, so Sasuke is really trying to see if Boruto will keep training. He keeps on going. He's really just keeps on pushing. He can't complete it. And he gets a bit frustrated, but he keeps trying, and that's when eventually Sasuke says, whatever, done, I'll train you for a little bit. And so Sasuke starts trying to train Boruto. He starts maybe giving him some hard lessons, but after seeing how rigorous his training is, Boruto starts to get fed up with it. He just did all this hard training for trying to complete a task he couldn't do, and now he's doing all this other training that is way above his level. So he is kind of done with it, and he starts to... Sasuke notices this and starts to ease up a little bit, but also separate himself from Boruto, trying to kind of almost just kind of, I guess you could say, dumping him in a sense. Because he doesn't, he's starting to not push forward as much as he wanted to. And Boruto starts to explain a bit of his frustration, and that's when Sasuke starts to compare him to his dad and talk about, Kid Naruto, which, considering the relationship between Naruto and Boruto does not take this well at all. So he then, he kind of just runs away. He leaves. He says, screw this, I'm done. And he heads off and kind of does his own little loner training elsewhere. And from that point on, that's where we start to get the whole cheat arc, where the scientist starts to, implement that scientific tool. I'm not a big fan of it, but at the same time, I feel that there needs to be some sort of cheating in the Chunin exams to really push forward this father-son dynamic. So that's why I'm adding it in here. Until I can think of something a bit better or have a bit more freedom with creating this, and I'm trying to keep kind of close to Kodachi's Boruto. But anyways, so we started to get the implementation of the scientific tool, and Boruto he feels like he's ready. He feels like with this thing, he still don't want to use it, and he feels a bit guilty about having it, but at the same time, he was just fed up with being compared to his dad. And so, Boruto then goes to Chunin exams, and they're going well. They get through the first trial, easy, didn't even have to use it once. And it's not until the third round, where they do the 1v1s, where Boruto, he finally ends up using it. And that's exactly when Naruto gets a bit suspicious. He's like, what the hell did Boruto just do? And you remember the scene. He goes down there, grabs his arm, it exposes the ninja tool, and he instantly, rips off his ninja headband and says, you're not worthy of this. And this is the point where you're going to have a very, intimate part between Naruto and Boruto, where Boruto really expresses his deep emotions and anger about, being compared to Naruto and all this other stuff. He's like, I don't have the tail beast. I'm not the same as you, and yet everyone is comparing me to you. And Naruto starts to realize this a little bit, and maybe he'll start to feel that, maybe I haven't really been there as much as I wanted to for my son. And you have this little touching moment, which is, of course, interrupted very quickly by the man himself, Momoshiki. Now, of course, this is not 65 episodes in. This is very much so not that. And so the lighter tone, of course, is obviously shifting. It's going away right now. You can already tell it's getting serious. You're having these more deeper conversations. And this is where that big transition happens, where you then go into this fight. It's the same we saw last time. Episode 65, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Even if you don't know what's going on in Boruto, just go and do yourself a favor and watch it, because that fight was beautiful. Damn. And if you really want to treat, watch Afro Sends You XL's reaction to it. Because damn, that had me dying. But enough plugging YouTubers who have a lot more subscribers than I do. It was a funny video, though, seriously. But anyways, so we get into the fight, and now this is where things have to change up a little bit, because I don't want Boruto to be the one to kill Momoshiki. I want him to be there and, help with that, where he yells out his dad's name, that, To-chan! Whatever he said at that point. He's gonna yell out for Naruto or his dad to, whoop some ass. Let's just put it that way. And I think that Naruto should land the final blow, but at the same time also take a quite severe, he should take a severe injury from it. Something that, maybe he could blame it on he's been out of commission for a while. There's not much conflict, so he's not training every day. Basically, he's just sitting in an office, signing off papers. He's not a top performance right now. So he gets this injury. Obviously, it deeply affects, it actually ends up deeply affecting Boruto, really just making him realize how real this whole being a ninja is, and how, these jutsus are cool and all, but they are real and they can do some damage. AKA, you can die. And as he really realizes now, and it's kind of a grim reality, and this is where you have that tone shift, just that hit, boom! It hits to a much more serious tone, and this is where we're starting into a bit more of the adult-like themes to, of course, appeal to the more grown-up audience now that watched Naruto as kids and has since then grown up. But moving on, well, actually, before we move on quickly, one other thing that will have to be changed is how the Kama is received, because originally Kama is received by, when you're trying to kill, someone similar to Momoshiki. I can't remember the name. It involves like the two, sorry, I've completely blanking on the name of it. I'll put up on the screen somewhere right here. But when trying to deal with someone from this clan, aka the flying superpower bitches trying to eat the chakra plants and all that shit, or in the manga or anime, when you're about to kill one, they would put a part of their soul kind of into the person who killed them. I think you kind of heard this saying about like trying to kill a god or something like that. I'm not trying to put the quote up here. I can't remember it word for word. But anyways, we have to change that, of course, because Naruto's the one killing Momoshiki this time, and so you can't have it be the same method. But there are other ways to go about this. You can say it's another type of chakra power. The way these, like the dimensions and stuff like that, there's probably other dimensions with these groups of people who have jutsus. I know we're getting into weird space stuff, but we'll pretend that one of those other universes or dimensions has a type of chakra power that eventually Boruto receives, and it's kind of this foreign power. I don't like that idea as much, but at the same time, though, I don't think Boruto should be killing Momoshiki. But moving on, though, because I've enough on this point. So Boruto then, of course, he's getting more serious about this, and he has a very long talk with Sasuke. Sasuke asks him kind of why he did what he did, and he talks a lot about, the being compared and stuff like that, and Sasuke actually starts, instead of talking about, like, Naruto's power, he starts talking about his flaws. And, he's like, Naruto wasn't a perfect kid. He starts talking about all the stupid stuff he did as a kid. And he kind of really humanizes Naruto to Boruto. And, as Naruto's still in the hospital getting treated for his wound, Boruto starts to respect him a lot more, as well as also start to think, maybe it's time that I step up and become a ninja. And also start thinking about why he wants to become a ninja. Just a little bit, though, because that full arc will come a little bit later. Or right now, possibly, actually. You know what? Next up, we're going to throw in their training. Sasuke, because of what happened, Sasuke stayed in the village, because basically they just lost their strongest person, and these Momoshiki dudes, they're trying to, whatever they're called, they're trying to find out more information about them, but also protect the village from them. And as this happens, Boruto starts want to do some training, and he eventually, let's skip on the Sasuke bit right now. He is gonna be attracted by someone else. Another person is gonna catch his eye. The usual three-man teams have been split up for now due to the emergency. And all the, Genin and Jonin are needed, basically just for taking care of much more important tasks than taking a bunch of kids around and training them. So, Boruto, someone else catches Boruto's eye, and they start to converse a little bit, and over time eventually convinces Boruto to come out to his house outside of the village. He says, I have a little training facility outside of the village. I can really help you. If you go here, I can really help you step up your game and make you a real ninja. And, and it talks a lot about, like, his dad would be so proud of him for this. And he really just plays on Boruto's emotions. And Boruto, of course, is tricked. Because this man, of course, obviously he's not going to actually want to help out Boruto. No, he is going to be the one who introduces the Kama chakra into Boruto. He himself also has it, but he wants to... He's obsessed with, like, something called the perfect chakra, we'll call it. And he wants to use Boruto for testing because of, being the son of... he has some Hyuga blood in him, but also he's got that Naruto, the Uzumaki blood in him, and he really wants to mess around with that a little bit. And starts, like, doing all these tests and stuff like that, injecting these weird, like, syringes into him. It's a bit screwed up, we'll just say. I'm trying to keep it a little bit, less profane than I usually would. But it's not gonna be nice. And obviously, Naruto, he's injured right now, but the second he hears about that, he says, you know what? Screw off, doctors. I'm gonna go save my son right now. And so Sasuke and him they leave the village and they go to try to hunt down this dude who abducted Boruto and is now performing weird tests on him. And so you kind of already tell where this is going. This guy who abducted Boruto, because of all his tests that he's run, the man is like, he's beefed up. He's got some weird juices in his system, but he is really powerful. And he also knows that he has both Boruto as a hostage, and Naruto is severely injured still. Like, he should not be out of bed. But he was not about to have this. He was out the second he heard that. He was like, screw off, doctors. I'm still bleeding, somewhere, but he's still blood running out. The IV just yeets out of him. He's running. Sorry, I love that. I love that. Cause it really is, it's Naruto's character. He is doesn't really care what's gonna happen to him. He cares about the people who he cares about. It's stupid to say, but it's true. He is, very selfless in those things. Anyway, so he goes out to try and save Boruto, and they're starting to try and pick up on some stuff. They feel like, maybe some disturbances of chakra. I don't really know. I don't know. We're trying to bring new stuff in here. Anyways, they somehow they do eventually find him. After a lot of searching, they eventually find him, and, maybe Naruto used like 1,000 clones to try and hunt down this dude. And he finds him eventually. Naruto's exhausted when he finds him though, and Boruto is, he's unconscious from all these tests, but, sorry, I'm losing track of where I am a little bit, but this guy, he knows that Naruto's found him. He's like, okay, I gotta deal with this quickly, and a fight breaks out. Obviously, a fight breaks out, and Naruto is now, he's really struggling. He's coughing up some blood, but he is going ham. This isn't like, peaceful Naruto or, talking jutsu. No, this is, I'm gonna beat some ass, Naruto. This is him mad. He is full Nine Tails chakra, just bleeding out of him. He is Sage mode in this bitch, too. He is going ham on this man. But this man is one strong-ass dude. And it isn't until Sasuke finally catches up to Naruto that the fight starts to turn against this dude. And that's when he pops one of those pills, similar to what Momoshiki did. Because his power, he received that from Momoshiki by being not the exact person, but that clan, by being a loyal supporter of them and kind of saying, hey, I will help you rule over this world. I will be like your inside man. I want to serve you because you are the rightful kings of this planet. Something similar to that. And so he's received this special power from them. And so he pops one of those things, and maybe this is the first time you see the Kama in action. And he picks up that heat. And this is where Naruto really gets beefed up. He gets really beefed up here. I don't think I want to kill him yet. I want to hold on to him, but he gets beefed up, and it isn't until Boruto wakes up and he's got, now he's got that Kama thing on, and he sees Naruto, and the two of them, that's when they do the father-son Rasengan. And I think that'd be a cool place to do it. Had this really touching moment where the two were pushing themselves to the edge and eventually, obviously, kill this dude. And at this point, this is the first time that Boruto's ever killed someone, and so it really affects him. So he had a long conversation with his dad and Sasuke, and of course they have to get Naruto back to the village because his ass is not doing too well. He is really, he shouldn't even been out of bed, and he just had a full-on fight using his every super powerful jutsu he had. Maybe we'll even throw in a new one in there, just because, why not? Let's throw in some new ones. Maybe he's got a few new tactics up his sleeve after being, Hokage for as many years as he had, or being so much older. Let's throw in maybe a new jutsu in there. I'm sure he's learned a few more. So, anyways, once they get back, it's very grim now, and this is where Boruto really had the conversation with Sasuke about why he wants to become a ninja, and that's when he really thinks hard about this. He has a long conversation with Sasuke about this, and he kind of just has some time to himself, and he starts talking to all his other classmates. This is actually a good place to introduce some of the other classmates. Kind of talk about, why do you want to become a ninja? Sarada wants to become Hokage. Mitsuki, I don't know what his reason is. He's an interesting dude. Iwabe, maybe, he wants to lift his family out of poverty. There we go. His family is not the richest, but he wants to get them lifted up. And of course you can stretch out the different, points in here. There's a lot of stuff that isn't planned between the end and the beginning. This little middle section after what I've explained so far is not really planned out, of course. But anyways, Naruto should keep trying. My bad. Boruto is trying to still really figure out why he wants to become a ninja, and kind of expresses to Sasuke that he just doesn't really have a goal. And that's where you have that really human interaction between the two, discussing how, maybe Sasuke shares what his old goal was, and he talks about, and after that he really had no idea where to go, or something similar to that. He kind of starts to get lost a little bit. And he kind of talks to Boruto about trying to find out what his goal is, and, also kind of accepting, though, that it's fine to not have a goal. But kind of, there's a lot of stuff you could do with that. And I think that there's I want to leave that open because there's a lot of wiggle room. But the last thing in this, plan for Boruto that I want to go over is Boruto leaving the Hidden Leaf. I think that at some point he should leave it, or at least according to Kodachi's vision, or what we've seen that little clip in the beginning, he does leave the village. He's got the crossed out headband. I think that he's going to leave the village, become a rogue ninja, but I think this is not going to happen until after his dad dies. I think that of course, that's becoming very big, like emotional, all that stuff. Like another of these weird Momoshiki type people attacking. I think that that's where you should have Naruto sacrifice himself for the whole village and to save Boruto. And it's at that point where Boruto kind of gets overwhelmed by his grief and runs away from the village. And then you kind of just see him trying to figure out who he is for himself. And we try to find out what type of man he wants to be. And you can play a lot with that. But I'm going to end my vision right there. Because I don't want to do the entire series, obviously, because, you can make this as short or as long as you want to. And you could also, of course, add stuff on to what I've already described. Maybe you add a few more classmate interactions before the Chunin exams. Introduce Iwabe, introduce maybe a few other people before that. While the tone's still light, but I think I've fixed the most parts of the series. Animation quality, of course, is important. Music and all that stuff. Naruto had great music. You can just use the same music for that, honestly. Maybe remix it up a little bit. That'd be kind of dope. But anyways, and of course, you need to have a kick-ass intro sequence because that is what's up. But anyways, I'm going to end this here. I really hope that you enjoyed my vision for Boruto or what it could be. Of course, there are thousands of other ways to fix this. You could go with a much lighter tone. You could go with this dark all the way through. Hell, you could turn into a romance if you wanted to. I don't know. You can do so much stuff. But this is one that I thought of personally, and I thought this is my favorite vision that I've created, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Even other visions for this, you could talk about maybe Boruto gets a Rinnegan. Sasuke dies and gives Boruto his Rinnegan, and then you have then that's where you get that blend then of light and dark. This is all up in the air stuff. I'm just throwing stuff out to you guys and giving you a general, have it all put together plan of what it would look like. Well, if you have any feedback, though, please put it in the comments. I will read all the comments. I will read all the comments. And I'll try to respond to any questions or any other people's concerns. Also, I should know I am by no means a Naruto expert. I'm sure there are thousands of people out there who have more knowledge on the story than I do and more information on the world. I simply just, the storyteller, I simply wanted to share how I would have gone about Boruto. I like the Naruto universe, and I would have loved to see certain things done a little bit differently, especially with the Boruto series. And I'm sure many of you guys can also feel the same way. But anyways, if you liked the video, remember to please, subscribe, comment, like, all that stuff. You heard it 1,000 times. Every YouTuber says it. I have writing tips that will be coming out in the near future. Stuff like how to, write a dialogue-driven story. There's other just general commentaries on anime, manga, storytelling, story writing, all this stuff. I am by no means an expert, but I at least have the knowledge. I think I have some sort of knowledge in storytelling as well as also, a passion for fixing things and also just, I'm a weeb. I love anime. So, anyways, we're going to end it there. I'm not going to drag this outro for any longer. You've already been here for so long, so go grab some water, remember to drink, hydrate, do all that stuff, and be creative, do some fun stuff. That's it. Good night.